Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to day 4 of the National Activity Providers and Professionals Week. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope that you've enjoyed our previous sessions this week. If you did miss any of them or you'd like to watch them again, they're all still available across our NAPA communication channels, so please do catch up and share with colleagues as well.
So this session is being shared across our communication channels, and we'd love for you to join in as we go. Please use the chat to ask questions, add any comments and share your reflections. We'll do our very best to respond to as many questions as we can during the session. And if we don't get to your question live, we'll respond directly in the chat afterwards.
Absolutely. NAP Week is all about connection, confidence, learning and celebration. But above all, it's about recognising the vital role that activity providers play every single day across care settings. Before we go any further, I'd like to say a very special thank you to our NAP Week sponsor, Majesticare Luxury Care Homes. Their continued support helps make this week possible and demonstrates a genuine commitment to high quality activity, engagement and wellbeing in care. I'm Ellie Lucas, Development Officer at the National Activity Providers Association, or NAPA, and I'm a former activity provider, having worked in care homes myself.
And hello from me too. I'm Terri Eakins. I'm the advanced practitioner at NAPA, and just like Ellie, I'm also a former activity provider. So everything we're talking about today really does come from lived experience. Our session today is called The Art of Self-Care, Looking After You. We'll be chatting openly and honestly about what self-care really means, why it matters, and how we can make it realistic within our roles. So let's start with the big question. What actually is self-care? Ellie, what does self-care mean to you?
I think for me, self-care is about those intentional actions, not just everyday things that take place, but really being intentional about what you're doing, setting boundaries, making sure that you have time to rest and reflect, about having compassion for yourself. And yeah, we're all taking care of other people every day. So it's about taking care of yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like that. I think for me, self-care is about noticing how you're feeling and responding to that with kindness. I think rather than pushing through it until you're completely depleted.
Absolutely. I think, well, like you said, kindness is key. And everyone looks different for everyone. What might work for one person might not work for someone else, and that's okay. As you said, it's finding what's right for you. So Terri, as an activity provider, when did self-care really start to matter to you?
So I think it really started to matter when I noticed I was very good at caring for everyone else, but not always kind to myself. I was holding a lot emotionally, and I realised that if I wanted to keep showing up with empathy, patience and creativity, I had to start looking after my own well-being too. Self-care became less about time off and more about being able to stay present, connected and sustainable in the work that I absolutely loved.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as activity providers, we give so much of ourselves emotionally, creatively, physically, and without self-care, it's really easy to become exhausted or disconnected from the joy of the role. We know so many activity providers really love what they do, and it's making sure that you can maintain that as well.
Yeah, and it's remembering, self-care isn't selfish. It's what allows us to keep doing this work well and sustainably. So prioritising your own needs can be the hardest part, actually prioritising yourself. So Ellie, what's helped you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's been setting those boundaries, not just setting boundaries with other people, which is so important, but also for yourself, being aware of your limitations or where you might need to ask for a bit of help, or as we've said, be kinder to yourself, and making sure that you're communicating that with others, letting people know what you need. It's okay to ask for help, even if it's just making sure you have those 2 minutes after an activity to reflect, and then be able to move on to the next thing. It really is those small moments of planned rest time, but also creative outlets for yourself. activity providers, it's a very creative role that you give a lot to other people. So it's having that chance to be creative for yourself as well, even if it's small moments of listening to your favourite song or bigger moments of a creative crafty project.
And some wonderful examples there, Ellie. And I think I always say self-care doesn't have to be big, like you mentioned there. Sometimes it's a pause, a breath, or checking in with yourself between activities.
Oh, absolutely. It's about giving yourself permission to matter and to take care of yourself. So how would you say that we recognise when it's time to slow down?
I think for me, it's usually the quieter signs rather than something dramatic. I notice I'm rushing more, my head feels busy even when I finish work, or I've stopped enjoying the creative parts in the same way. That's often my reminder to pause and slow down, not because I'm doing something wrong, but because I need a little space to reset and look after my own well-being.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very similar for me as well. It's when things start to feel rushed or you're not finding quite so much joy in what you're doing. It's usually the time to stop, reflect, see how you might need to change. And as you said, they're not failures. It's your body giving you messages and telling you what you might need to stop and reflect on.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say are your 3 top tips for self-care as an activity provider, Ellie?
Oh, I think my 3 top tips would be building those small moments of rest into your day. Create a reset ritual after difficult moments. It's quite an emotionally taxing role, being an activity provider or working in care settings in general, and having that creative reset ritual, whether it's taking a moment to reflect on what went well, maybe something you do differently next time, or just those little moments of reflection. And as we said, it'll be different for everyone. Everyone's routine will be different. It's finding what suits you. And then my third one, I think, would be stay connected with your peers and with those around you. Find someone that you can talk to and confide in, whether it's a team member, a manager, someone, because we're all in the same position. You can all relate, and it's being comfortable talking to someone and having those conversations. How about you? What would you say that your 3 top tips are, Terri?
I think, so mine always allow yourself time for reflection. We speak about this a lot in the role when we're delivering engagement, and allowing yourself time for that personal moment of time for reflection is so important. Again, celebrate small wins. It's not always about the big things. Celebrate those small wins and check in with yourself regularly. That's really, really important.
Oh, absolutely. And you don't need to change everything all at once. One small shift can really make a big difference. We're not expecting you to be able to go away and everything change by tomorrow. It's those small moments that you can gradually build up over time. We have some wonderful support at Napa to support activity providers with their wellbeing. And I wondered if you could tell us a bit more about these, Terri.
I would love to. So if you're looking for ongoing support, our Napa Learning Space includes wellbeing modules designed specifically with activity providers in mind. They're flexible, supportive, and there to support you, not just your role. We also have a range of resources to support your wellbeing, such as the Napa Wellbeing Journal that you can find for free on the Napa website during Nap Week, as well as a range of sketch notes by Dr. Hayley Lewis with advice on resilience and compassion to help you support your wellbeing.
Absolutely. And they can head over to the Napa website to find out even more, as you've said. We are coming towards the end of our session now, and we've had some really thoughtful questions come through. Please keep adding your own questions to the comments. And if we don't, as Terri said, if we don't get to them, we will make sure to answer them in the comments for you afterwards. But we've had our first question from Julie. How do you stop feeling guilty when you know you need to slow down?
I think guilt often comes from how much we care, doesn't it? But looking after your own well-being is part of being professional. So not stepping away from it. So essentially, when I slow down, I'm protecting the quality of what I give in my role.
Absolutely. If you don't look after yourself, you can't look after someone else, because as you said, it can affect the quality of your work. So there's really nothing to feel guilty about taking that moment to slow down and have that time for yourself, because it will only enhance how you can support others.
Yeah. So we have another question from Alison. Is it normal to lose confidence or creativity after a tough period?
Absolutely. Tough periods, they can come in all shapes and sizes, and they can really affect your confidence and creativity. But I think the main thing is, as we've said, finding those reset rituals that work for you, whether it's a small moment or something bigger that you need to help yourself through it. And having those conversations with people when you maybe need a bit more support. But it is normal, but it's finding those ways to work through it, bring back your creativity. And if we have, as we've said, lots of ways that we can support you through NAPA, but ultimately is finding those rituals and having those connections with people around you.
Yeah, and rest and a bit of kindness towards yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Oh, absolutely. So we've had one last question through from Charlie. If you could give one piece of self-care advice to activity providers watching today, what would it be?
Oh, so you matter. Positivity breeds positivity, and it's okay to make yourself the priority. You're out there daily doing just that for others, so take time for yourself without feeling guilty.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. I think my piece of advice would be, we can often give advice to other people, but it can be harder taking that advice on ourselves. So I'd say try thinking what you would advise someone else to do, and if they were in your situation, and try and take that on board yourself. Like, we know it's very much easier said than done, but it's just, as you said, being kind to yourself and following your own advice.
Yeah, and self-care doesn't have to be complicated. It may be simply pausing, taking a breath, asking for support, or doing something that brings you back to yourself. I think it really is those small moments that make a big difference in helping us stay well and keep doing this work with heart.
Absolutely. So as we come to a close, we do just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to spend with us and for everything that you do as activity providers and professionals. As we've said, you matter, your well-being matters, and you really do deserve the same care that you give to others. Before we finish, we just want to take a moment to highlight what is still to come this week. Tomorrow is the 2026 NAPA Conference, the UK's leading national event dedicated to activity, engagement and wellbeing in care. This will also be followed by the National Activity Awards in the evening, celebrating excellence in activity provision, and the perfect way to wrap up NAP Week.
Yep, so if we didn't get to your question today, please don't worry, we will respond directly in the chat. If you have any further questions after the session, you can also email us at inquiries@napa-activities.co.uk. We would also love you to get involved by sharing how you are recognising, celebrating activity providers and professionals this week, whether it's a thank you, a story, a photo, or a moment of impact.
Absolutely. We've already seen you sharing some wonderful things across social media this week so far, and you can continue to do so, but please ensure to tag NAPA and use that NAP Week hashtag NAPPW26, so we can celebrate and share your stories across the community. We also have the NAP Week certificate for you to download and share, a small but meaningful way to celebrate the incredible work that you do every single day.
Yep, and please do also make use of our free NAP Week social media assets. They're there for you to share, celebrate yourselves, and help shine a light on the vital role activity providers play. Because you deserve to be recognised, you deserve to be celebrated, and you deserve to feel valued.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your continued dedication. Nap Week is for you, and we are so grateful for everything that you do. Happy National Activity Providers and Professionals Week, and take care of yourselves.